Hello kids, today we are going to talk about appropriate measuring tools. So, what are the appropriate measuring tools? Tools to measure distance and tools to measure time. Okay, so tools to measure distance, we have a micrometer, ruler, meter stick, and odometer. Okay, first is the micrometer. Okay, a micrometer is used to precisely measure very small objects like thickness of a coin, thin sheets, or plastics. So, yung pinaka sobrang maliit that you can't measure using a ano ba to? That you won't be able to make use of rulers, yung mga usual na measuring tools that you have with you. So, we use the micrometer for smaller ones that has a smaller unit for measurement. Okay. The next one is the ruler. So, of course, I know that you already know how a ruler looks like. So, used to measure small objects like books, notebooks, or something that you can somehow uh, measure around you. Basta yung something within the measurement lang or a little more than the measurement of a ruler. So, also used for drawings and designing plans. Isa yan sa mga ginagamit ng mga engineers and architects. Okay? A standard ruler measures roughly around 12 inches. I mean, exactly at 12 inches or roughly around 30 centimeters. Okay, just to let you know that 30 centimeters is not equal to 12 inches. They are roughly the same, but they have a certain difference. Okay, a small amount. Okay, meter stick. This is basically longer than the ruler. We have one at school. And just to side-by-side comparison, that this is an example of a ruler. And this is how long a meter stick is. So, sorry about the angle. Ganun lang yung the image that I was able to find online. Okay, used to measure short distance such as dimensions around houses and buildings. So, tulad sa bahay nyo, what is the perimeter around your house? So, you can make use of the unit of meters to measure the unit around your house or the distance from one point to another as you travel or as you walk from your house to your neighbor or outside your barangay community. Okay, it is also used for distances over a few hundred meters under a kilometer. So 1,000 meters is equivalent to 1 kilometer. So that's just a ano pa to? Basis. So which means if you have 1,000 of this, that's equivalent to 1 kilometer. So let me just also used for distances over a few hundred meters under a kilometer. Okay. Odometer or odograph. So this is an example of an odometer. Just to make it clear, an instrument that tells us the distance traveled by certain vehicles. Again, this is the odometer. The count here, not this one. Okay, hindi ito because this is called a speedometer. Okay, speedometer ang tawag dyan. The speedometer basically measures how fast you are going, while an odometer measures how far you have gone since you bought the car. Okay, so usually you cannot reset that value unless it goes back to zero again until it reaches its maximum point. Okay? So, tools to measure time. Obviously, ang clock at saka ang stopwatch. So, the clock, you should know by now that we have, or a clock is basically composed of 3 hands, namely the hour hand, the minute hand, and the second hand. You should, of course, know that. So, specific hour yan, in other words, no, including the seconds. For example, you arrived at this certain place at 10 o'clock. That's just by the hour. Some people would say, "Oh, I've been waiting for you. Arrived at 10 o'clock. I was waiting for you since 9:50." So that's 9 o'clock and 50 minutes. No, 9 hours and 50 minutes. So meron din isa would tell you that I've been here since 9:55 and 30 seconds. So to be specific, but no one says that, of course. Tells us the time of the day. Okay, that's a very obvious. This is an example of an analog clock versus a digital clock. So nowadays, mostly we already have this, even in our phones, no, which also not tells us the time alone, but also the day, and some even have the dates, no. So kung ano talaga yung exact day to day. So just like it's sa phone ninyo. Okay, another one is stopwatch. Okay, this is an example of a stopwatch, an analog stopwatch. Tells the amount of time that lapses for a particular second, used for precise time measurement of a subject's travel from point A to point B. Okay, why did subjects travel point? Wala yan. Okay, travel from point A to point B. So for example, traveling from point A to point B, to be specific, let's say you have two students here. One is gonna time this student. I don't know why the name is Golu, and the other one is Bolu. Might be Indians. Am I being racist? I don't know. I hope not. Okay, so Bolu walks this path. So a person will time how long it will take Bolu to reach from point A to point B, and another one here, point A to point B as well. So obviously this is a shortcut compared to this one, around talaga, 'di ba? So anyway, yun na. We can tell the difference by minutes and by seconds as well. So yun ang maganda dyan when you are using a stopwatch. So commonly used for races and competitions. So if you notice, if you have watched, passed through a channel, for example, yung F1, Formula 1 race, if you see this time, this is actually their difference. Split second, millisecond lang ngayon ang iba eh. From the 1st to the 15th, you can see that there's a difference of roughly around 2 seconds, a little over 2 seconds. Pero, yung 2 seconds na yan, at their speed is already that far. Malayo na talaga yan para sa kanila, especially if you are running over 200 kilometers per hour. Compared to you just arriving 2 seconds after your friend in a certain place or like in school. So iba yung situation na yun. So, and also in competition, other competitions such as yung Rubik's Cube. So if you can remember your friends, schoolmates, Rubik's Cube timer. So it is that's one example of like a stopwatch that measures how fast you can solve a Rubik's Cube, or mga iba pa, may mga other things that you can make use of the timer as well. So that is it, yung appropriate measuring tools, where and when to use them.